What is good, everybody? I hope everybody is doing good. Hope you guys are making it, doing it, making it do what it do. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? All right, so let's jump into it. So, if you are not aware of the situation that happened on Martin Luther King Day, you know, rapper Sexyy Red tried to do something that she thought was honorable or honoring to the late great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And she posted a picture. I'm obviously not going to post it because it's so controversial, but posted a picture of her and the late MLK sort of kind of booed up in a romantic setting, looking like they're slow dancing. She meant it as a thing of honor. I truly believe that she meant it as a thing of honor, and trying to portray that slow dance. And I would kind of respect what you did for us and all this kind of stuff. The problem comes with the younger generation not understanding, what protocol is, morality, ethics to a large degree, and it takes those of us who are more seasoned to put some seasoning on this and help you to understand that some things are sacred that should be revered and respected. And sometimes without the guidance of previous generations or older generations, a lot of times people are just unaware of what's okay and what's not okay. Though there was a time when I won't go there, but let me just say I think this is the moral failings of or the teachings have failed. The teachings have failed of older generations who have not instilled this type of sense and sensibility and logic within the younger generations. Now, I had this conversation with a younger guy, and he couldn't understand what was wrong about this. What's wrong about this? Because he's saying that the younger generation or people now put him on his picture, MLK's picture, on flyers for bars and clubs and parties, and his image and likeness has been used in various platforms, advertisements, and he's been in been in the Boondocks and other stand-up comedy routines and all this type of stuff. So what was so offensive about Sexyy Red doing it? So I'm going to try to break this down, and I recognize it's not going to be convincing to everyone. But first, I'm going to just go off with a respect thing that we should not have been doing a lot of the things that we're doing. This whole putting them on for advertisements, for parties and clubs and advertisements, shouldn't be done. It shows a lack of respect and reverence for our heroes and for their ability, and those particularly who fought for the civil rights of this country, to get what we now claim to be freedom. It took a lot for them to do those types of things. And so when the image is used in those disrespectful manners, parties, clubs, what I'm going to call debauchery, not that every party is debauchery and all that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there is a certain level to it that just goes beyond. And you got to know where that line is. So the picture in and of itself was not completely offensive. I mean, there was no, what I mean by that is that there was no twerking or scantily, I don't remember her being scantily clothed or anything like that. However, the problem is with Sexyy Red herself, and the images and the portrayal and the music that she puts out. Contrary to popular belief and in line with the cartoon Boondocks, Martin Luther King Jr. didn't take these whoopings so we could talk about Pound Town or WAP by Cardi B and all these other ones, and now they even got Bruno Mars up here. They see us as a debaucherous, licentious, if we don't know what those words are, look them up, culture, with no morals, values, ethics, with no moral compass pointing us to the way we should be going, what's right, what's wrong. That's the way they see us. And then, those people who were heroes of ours, the Malcolm X's, the Mary Cloud Bethune's, the, all Stokely Carmichael, all these patriarchs who endured all the things that they did, fighting for civil rights whether it was the courthouse, the schoolhouse, the university setting, the marches. They all did that so we could enjoy some semblance of freedom. And what is it that many people do with their freedom? We look at it. We look at all the different sociological standards of quality of life, and recognize that we still have not achieved en masse the American dream. And a part of that is because we don't have this moral compass. Don't know what's right, what's wrong. So that's one of the things I would say. I also want to point another a large part of the blame on the people who are not, well, the mature crowd, right? The Generation Xers. We so wanted to eliminate the stain of racism. We so wanted to eliminate the stain of poverty that we forgot to educate our children about the next generation. I played the video before a number of times, or at least I suggested people watch the video a number of times, in which Dr. Barbara Sizemore has talked about, if you don't save your culture won't save you. And here's a prime example of a woman. Sexyy Red is 26 years old. And these 20-something-year-olds don't see the problem, don't see the issue. What's wrong with what she did? It shows a drastic lack of reverence. Show me another culture in mass where they're doing that and disrespecting their elders like this. I mean, in the Islamic culture, you can't even say the Prophet Muhammad without, you're supposed to say, after you say the Prophet Muhammad, you're supposed to say peace be upon his name. You can't draw pictures of him because it has a, there's certain a level of iconography. I think that's the word. The worship of symbols. Iconography? I can't remember the term. The worship of symbols that probably goes too far in some, cultures. Think about the American flag and all this kind of stuff, right? Because they want to always have respect about that thing. And one time you couldn't even put the American flag right on your body, right? And next thing you know, they got bathing suits of it, and people were saying, that because they didn't want it to be seen as something that's disrespected, but that is actually, some people would take it as a sign of honor. So times change, things change. I get that. I'm not saying that, but it's the association of the music and, yes, the degeneracy that Sexyy Red puts out there, and then you want to associate that with someone who is really should be a high class, high level of respected person, not only from African Americans, I would say, but for all African people. I think that all African people across the world, and I don't, I don't know what they think about them, but when we think about those types of people who are, up there as far as African American, as far as persons of African descent, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, right? Those types of people, man, who really did a lot to make sure that we had these freedoms, and then to associate that with her. So I think that the previous generation, the current generation of Gen Xers failed to instill that type of respect and wisdom and moral compass in their children. And now the 20-something-year-olds don't understand this, right? We wanted to not talk about racism anymore. We wanted not to talk about about, poverty. We want to, get our stocks. We want to move away from that type of thing. We want to be fully embraced by the American experience and American dream. Get it, got it. But then, then when you get situations like George Floyd, you get situations like Donald Trump, you get situations like these racist, some of the racist, ideologies that are out there, they're unable to handle it. And then you get people doing things like Sexyy Red did and not understanding, the reverence and the respect and all that kind of stuff, right? So this is what happens when history, culture is lost, as Dr. Barbara Sizemore said. This is what happens. Okay, and then finally, we get this generation. Now, what I do respect, and I respect Sexyy Red for saying this, right? She said, "You're absolutely right. You ain't wrong." I think that's what she said. You ain't wrong. so you gotta. I appreciate her saying that. I appreciate her, taking down the post. I appreciate Bernice King speaking up. But we got to do a better job as far as educating our young people, having a standard, setting a standard, and never ever falling off of that standard along the ways. That, this is why, culture and cultural practices and community centers, all this type of thing, when we have all these different pictures on the wall, it just shouldn't be celebrated or talked about during February, during the month of February, but this ought to be a constant routine thing, that these people, these men, these women, these things matter. These things matter. These people and what they did matters. Their speeches, their ideas, their thoughts, they understood the trials and tribulations, and they keep it alive. And other cultures, other histories keep it alive. Other cultures keep their stuff alive. They keep it alive. And it's not just a once in a month thing. And we got to stop asking the other people to do it. The government's got to do it. The government's got to institute a certain month, a certain day. We got to do it all the time. In my Instagram feed, I'm subscribed to a couple of different things. Where Black History is constantly, on this day in Black History, they're always sending me, always send whoever subscribed to them. You can always go on their post and read about it, because it's not just about one day, not just about one day or one person. It took all of us to make it to this situation, to where we are, and it's going to take all of us to get to the next place in life. It's going to take all of us working together. That's why I'm so disappointed in this male-female dynamic that we got going on, particularly in the Black community. Because this time that we're talking about, when Martin Luther King was doing what he was doing, and all the other patriarchs and matriarchs that were in the struggle for liberation, freedom, they did it together. And then we get the civil rights movement, and for some reason, somehow, it just got hijacked. And now we're at each other's throat in 2025 like we've never seen before. I can't put up a post and not be called some type of, that my motives are disingenuous. I'm not even going to respond. I'm not even going to respond to that nonsense anymore. I'm not even going to respond to it. You see what you see. But I want us to work together to be better, to go further, and we're going to go further together. I just was reminded of the saying the other day, that if you want to go quick, go alone, or go fast, you want to go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go there together. So I'm advocating for us to go far, and that means educational attainment. That means our financial wisdom, viability. It means all that. Health. It means all that, and we got to get there together. So again, I just want to talk about a little bit about Sexyy Red, and how that happened, and how it happened is a lack of embracing and remembering history, culture, and reverence for those who went through what they went through. He wasn't just some dude who took a bunch of whippings. He wasn't just some dude who was locked up in the Birmingham jail. You know, he was a man of convictions. Was he flawed? Absolutely. Was he flawed? Absolutely. But we're all flawed. But we all have some redeeming qualities, and we can all still. It's good to remember the redeeming qualities and make sure that our good redeeming qualities and our good qualities outweigh the bad. So I just kind of wanted to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Do you think that what Sexyy Red did, the post that she did, was disrespectful? And did Bernice King and others make too big of a deal about this? Was it simply nothing? Or have we lost our way? And do we have the ability to reclaim our way? If you're lost, you can be found. If you get off the track, you don't know where you are, you can do something to reorient yourself and then get back to where we need to be, or back to where you need to be. So it would be my suggestion that we have lost our way, part and large due to baby boomers and Gen Xers not really instilling the proper morals, values, ethical compass, moral compass into a generation. And therefore, the 26-year-olds, they don't know. But Sexyy Red did acknowledge that this was a mistake and then took the appropriate action, which I applaud her for. And anyone else who can look at the error of their ways and say, you know what, I missed the mark on this one. I'm sorry about that. You know what, my bad. So, all right, that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, your opinion. Hit me in the comment section. Let's keep the conversation going, and make sure that you are doing the best you can to instill into the future generations a good morals, values, ethical compass. And I recognize that it has largely been lost and broken amongst African people, particularly those who are living in America. It's been lost and broken, deliberately so. We get all that, deliberately so. However, we can still reclaim it. We can still, as Anita from Better Love Movement said, that we can get the pendulum. This pendulum's already swinging back. So let's get the pendulum to swing back, so we embrace our culture, so we understand who our heroes were, who they are, and so we can understand that we need to work together in order to make this thing happen. Whatever this thing is that you want to happen, we can make this thing happen, but we got to work together. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me in the comment section. Make sure you rate, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up, subscribe and share. Listen to the audio podcast on Captain Hunter's podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts at. Hit the like button. Much love and peace.